Here we go tonight with a very special night. I know there's not going to be as many people on tonight because it's a one off. We are attempting to bring you some unique information, and therefore we are having it on a separate night so we don't eat up too much time on a Monday night. So Gold Rocks is sponsored by Skippy Pest Control, Easy Shopping Cards, and Loveday Vehicle Lubricants. We have a couple of other companies that are negotiating to take part in our sponsorship, so we'll see how that goes. But all three of these companies deliver great products and great service. They've been a part of our roadmap for a very long time. So let's go. We're going to hand over to Mr. Brent Dobson. Are you there, Mr. Brent?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Miller, Mr. Derek Miller, the man himself. Yes, welcome everyone. I just wanted and Derek and I spoke about this with the incredible achievements that's happened in this team of Gold Rocks in such a short time, little over 90 days. And so we wanted to put something special together, a bit different to a Monday night, when we really have that open for guests and people that are plugging in and wanting to learn. And it's great to see the numbers increasing all the time. But tonight, I just want to do some recognition. Every one of these people just about that I'm going to talk to is gone straight past me in this business. So much for anyone that says this is a pyramid. But firstly, I just want to thank you all for coming on. I'm so blessed to be part of this team. I really love the camaraderie and the banter and everything about it. A little bit about myself. I work for a major Toyota dealership, one of the biggest in Australia, and love my job. I really do. Been doing it for 28 years. I don't sell cars, so please don't put me into that category. But Amanda and I, we were looking for something a couple of years ago, and we weren't really sort of desperate. We both got good jobs, but we were more worried about the economy and looking at somehow we could hold on to our assets and maybe improve them. And ironically, not long after that, a man named Roger Yates, and is Roger on tonight? I'm not sure. I haven't checked the participants. I'm gonna stay on point and keep to my notes, because there's a few things I want to do, and I want to make sure that everyone deserves the questions and the time. But anyway, Roger sent me a link, and it was about gold, and straight away that got my attention. But of course, I like some of you people on here have been asked or sent some information on quite a few deals and whatever you want to call them in the past, and quite often I dismiss it. But I thought I sort of dig into it a little bit. And anyway, we all know what this company's done since then. We didn't have much help back then in Australia. It was July 2017, and but Roger and I would talk fairly regularly, and we knew that we had something, and being able to exchange our worthless cash into something that's tangible. So I bought some gold, and it came through FedEx, and they talked about a MasterCard, how we'd get paid, and also I went and got it checked out, and I asked a few questions and did my due diligence, and there was plenty of negative stuff on Dr. Google, but we continued, and I thought there's something here, and then this crypto thing came out, and we had no idea what that was about. But Tammy Morrison, who most of you now have even met, and there's some people on this call that have met in person, so they can show off later and tell us about that. She just said to grab some of these coins and watch what happens, and we did, and thank God we did, because what they did in July for the amount that we paid, it's given us our money back plus a whole lot more. But something changed when Roger and I went to Dubai in April, and they talked about a merchant program coming, and that was it. I said to Roger, "Come on, I'm jumping on the plane." He said, "All right, I'll meet you there." And we went. We met Harold, the CEO, and we met Joseph Heitz, and we met a lot of the major leaders. And there was something the excitement. There's something about a destination event, and we're going to talk about that in one we did in Australia and what came out of that a little bit later on. But that's when it started for me, and I came back and did some work and changed a few habits, stopped watching TV, started reading more books, started listening to people that had what I wanted. And funny enough, a young man named Derek Miller and even a younger person named, excuse me, I'll have to put that man off for the moment. He wants to buy a profit pack. Carolyn Phillips, and I've known these people. So tonight I wanted to go through and chat to them, because what they've done in a little over 90 days is nothing short of extraordinary. So if we can bring Jan McCluskey on. Are you there, Jan? And
can you hear me?
Yes, I sure can.
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, great. Now, Jan, you've just come back from Amsterdam with Carolyn.
Yep.
We may talk about that in a little bit, but I just first wanted to ask you a couple of questions, because you won a silver profit pack, but you also achieved silver director in a short time. Now, I've known you from a previous business, and we've even had you your husband out to kill a few cockroaches, I think, years ago.
Yep.
But I just want to ask you a couple of questions. So how did you hear about Karatbars?
Do you want the truth?
I want the absolute truth. You're a straight shooter. You're almost just as straight shooter as your husband. So give it to me, baby.
I was laying in bed in the UK because we were on holidays, and Derek gives us a call. Sent you a link, and I just held my hand up. Derek couldn't see it, but I just held my hand up and said, no, la, 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 I don't want to know anything. Anyway,
It wasn't, you weren't waving at him then, obviously.
No, I wasn't waving at all. So after a couple more phone calls, and Dan has a look at this thing that Derek sent us, we thought, oh yeah, maybe it's got something that looks like it could do something for us, because after we'd been shafted 2 or 3 weeks before we went over from this other company that we're with, we were feeling a bit flat. And anyway, after we had a bit of a look, oh yeah, it looks all right. So by the time we got home, I was registered, and we went from there.
So you were over in the UK.
Yep.
And were over everything, I suppose, in the way of that particular business and that type of business. And
yep.
Okay, but you and your husband decided to register. So have you had experience in this type? Now, I believe this isn't that type of multi-level marketing business anyway. It has a lot of differences. But have you had any experience, in that?
I've basically worked for myself all my life. When I came to Brisbane, I had 3 kids at private school, and had to do something because of the situation that I was in. So I joined a direct selling company here in Australia. It was an Australian company, and I was teaching ladies how to look after their own natural fingernails. And I would do up to 3 parties a day. Sometimes I'd go out in the morning and I wouldn't get home until midnight. And I ended up becoming a director with that company. So then in between, after that one, did a few things, and then joined the last company that we were in, thinking that this was going to be the one that we were looking for after we'd had a few losses. And so yeah, I've been in this sort of industry for a while.
Okay.
And, but it's always a good industry. You can please yourself when you work, and talk to whoever you want to.
Yeah, and you certainly have a work ethic, and life's thrown you some curveballs by the sounds of it. And
yes, indeed.
Doesn't that always happen? Yeah, and so would you say, in comparison with what you did previously, how does this one compare? Like, I mean, you're silver director. I know you had a MasterCard that you had some money on to go and spend over there in Amsterdam.
Yep.
So how does it compare, would you say? I mean, we're talking 90 days. How long were you in the previous business?
7 years.
7 years.
Yep.
Okay. So
Um,
about the same, or
pardon?
are they about the same? About, did
No.
you make any money with the previous business?
Not as much as what I've made with this one in 3 months.
Wow. Okay.
But I find that with this one, it's a lot easier to talk to people. It's much easier to help people to come on board. Because all they've got to do is just buy a pack and buy some gold, and they get some coin, and the future looks heaps better than trying to go and do stuff from the other, like the other one.
Yeah.
But anyway, no, it's much easier to talk to people. Certainly feel more confident about it because of what the company is and how they operate.
Yeah. Okay. So a good company run by you got to meet Harold over there in Amsterdam?
No.
Oh, you didn't get to meet him? Okay.
Didn't get to meet the man.
Okay.
Met a lot of other people. But I reckon next time we go, they'll all want to meet the Aussies.
Yeah, you made an impression, so much
you.
so that you're on a video, on the short video that we saw last night.
Yeah. Well, we had to hold the flag up.
Okay, that's great.
But it's the team, it's the team behind it. We were just representing the team. We were wishing that everybody could have been there.
We will next time in Amsterdam, won't we?
We needed some backup with those Spaniards.
Well, we'll be there in force, and
we will.
You can tell us all about where to go and maybe where not to go next time you're there.
Yeah.
So do you need a lot of people in this business in comparison to what you've done? It's incredible, isn't it?
Yep. You just want to find people who have a want. That's the key. If people want to do something and they have a need, they'll get out and do something and work. I mean, it's available to everybody, and everybody can get gold, and everybody can set up a gold account, but not everybody will want to go and do the networking, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But, I think we've all got some really neat people in our teams, and it's basically just the teamwork makes the dream work, basically.
Yeah, and so people can just be a customer and saving some gold, and
exactly.
If they want to get some coin, they can do that, or if they want to tell the world, like you have, there's some serious money to be made, isn't there?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
No
Well, I know where you're going with this, especially with a husband like you have. You're gonna need to, and those gorgeous dogs there. That's the two
don't
little.
Forget my girls down there.
The girls, very, very. I mean, they look like they need some. They've had a lot of pampering, and they need some gold back something to.
And
to
they need
support
gold
that.
collars.
Mate, there's a thought.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jan, so much for coming on and sharing a little bit about yourself.
No worries, Brent. Thanks for sharing it with us.
Good on you. Can we bring on the lady who's hopefully she's gotten over her cold? I mean, Carolyn, are you there?
I am, Mr. Dobson.
Okay. Now, I've known this lady for some time, and I'm very proud to see what she's done. Carolyn has achieved gold director in the same amount of time. Won a VIP VPAC, a K1 phone, which hopefully we will receive in a couple of weeks' time. And you've probably used up all that €500 in the trip to Amsterdam, Carolyn, I believe.
Well, this was the incentive that when I read through them, this was the one I wanted. And the 2 VIP tickets, that's cool. The K1 phone, that's cool. There was a whole lot of coin as well, KCB. But the €500, that goes a long way to a trip. So that was the decider about going to Amsterdam. I wouldn't have won I wouldn't have been paid the 5,000 euros unless I actually went on the trip.
Yeah, that's true. You forfeit it if you don't. So what you're saying is you saw the incentives, and then you earmarked this one in particular, and that was your goal. Is that the way you approached it?
Yes. Yes, I worked out where I've done it before. When years ago there was a sewing competition out at the Brookfield show, and I thought, well, which prize would I like to win? Okay, and I looked down the schedule. That's the prize I want to win. So what do I have to do to win that prize? And that's what I did, and I got first prize, and I won that prize. So
Wow.
I looked down this schedule, and this was the prize I wanted, and so it told me how many incentive points I needed to earn. So I did the maths. Much of this business is maths. So I did the maths. I needed 5 VIPs to win this level of incentive.
Be careful
points.
what you wish for. I remember when I first approached you about this, and you were very arms crossed-ish and fair enough too, because of previous experiences, and but you did say to me, I want to earn a certain amount of money per week, and I was thinking to myself, why would you only want that amount? But incredibly, and I thought you could do that. I didn't say at the time frame. I thought you can do this by the end of the year. You did it in 3 months. Amazing. So how did you hear about it? I'm going to ask you the same questions. I just want, I want people to find out, where you guys were. And so it would have been from Derek, would I assume? Would I assume, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We were pretty smashed over the previous experience that we'd put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of years and heartache into it, and it was literally imploding. So we were walking around in shock, and you had phoned Derek. Derek came home and said, yep. I think I was away at the time. There was a reason why I didn't go to the original meeting with you, Brent, and I can't remember what that was. But
I was shocked. I was a little bit disappointed. Anyway, I got over
it. As you do, quickly. So, but there was a reason. I don't remember what it was.
Okay, that's all right. So look, you've had a bit of experience in this. I think we've known each other for 7 years. Used to, from the previous business. Can you tell me a little bit about what your experience is in this? Was that your first experience in a referral marketing or in a network type of business, or what's your background a little bit?
Okay, well, I'll go back probably a couple of decades to when I first graduated as a teacher, and I was invited to some staff development day, and I remember sitting down the back, and bit of a rebel, I suppose, and the guy up the front is saying, oh, this is so good, because we were all pretty much new graduates. This is so good. You'll be in this profession for the next 40 years. And I'm sitting down the back going, no, mate, not me. I chose teaching because of its variety. Every day was different. And that's what I actually wanted in my work, my workplace, my work experience. I wanted every day to be different and not the same as yesterday and the same as tomorrow and predictable. At that time, I didn't even want to wear a watch. But anyway, I did wear a watch for years. School teaching, you did need to wear a watch, but I didn't have to wear a uniform. So I had criteria. So yes, it was some time. Well, I was in that job for a couple of years, and then I had my own family.
Yep.
So I took time off for that, and then I came back in to the teaching profession again at adult level, and my first experience was with early childhood, so teaching young children and being very clear about concepts in my head so I could portray it and the kids could understand. So that has really been foundational for me ever since. And had a couple of direct marketing experiences, probably 2 before this one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your work ethic, I mean, you're amazing. And I know, again, life's thrown you some curveballs. We don't have time to go into everyone's story tonight. But yeah, this is probably your teaching is why you're so good in front of people. I mean, I've seen you in front of 350 people and just, as cool as a cucumber. So you've had that work ethic, and how does, like, after all those years, I saw you and Derek in that previous business, and your commitment was just second to none. And again, I'll quickly ask you the same question as I did Jan. I mean, how do you compare Karatbars to that or anything else you've done?
I'm finding Karatbars is really easy to talk about, because when you mention the word gold, most people, in fact, everyone goes, "Oh, I know what that is." There's no explanation needed because people know what gold is.
Everyone knows gold. Yes.
And when I say I'm saving in gold, are you interested in saving in gold? All I have to actually say is mention the word gold, and usually the other person will come back with some sort of comment, whether they want gold or they wear gold or they'd like to have some gold. There's something there, and that starts the conversation. So it has actually been really easy.
Because you've managed to, you've got, an older crew like most of us have, but you've got some, I know a young millennial there in your group who's pretty fired up, and I've got a couple of those, and I'm really excited about, where that's going to go, because, previously it wasn't, well, it's difficult for young people to get motivated, but even they tend to, I mean, the crypto, the combination of the cryptocurrency and being backed by gold, do you think that's helped with the younger crowd? I mean, I know you've got young adults yourself, and they're all, I think most of them are in the business, aren't they?
2 of my 4 are, yes.
Okay, yeah.
No, I wouldn't say at the moment that has helped. I think it helps when they understand cryptocurrency better.
Yeah.
But as an opener, cryptocurrency backed by gold, exchange for gold, a lot of people still don't understand that. So that actually needs to be explained quite carefully and clarified as to what that is. Because a lot of people know about Bitcoin. They know that Bitcoin started at 1 cent and now is $11,000. And so they go, whoa. And Bitcoin was thin air, if you like. And Bitcoin has increased in value because of confidence and trust. People are confident that something will come of it and trusting that they will be able to use it, spend it somewhere. And that's what it's built on. Whereas the KCB that we're purchasing at the moment is actually built on gold.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
And we're going to talk about how we're creating an ecosystem, and that's exciting, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay, amazing effort. Again, I think 90 days the same. Well, you couldn't have been any longer than Derek, because he registered you.
Well, he actually wouldn't register me at the beginning. I'm going, register me. Like, I want to do this. And he's going, no. And he was registering other people. I'm going, register me. Taking him. What do I have to do?
Which is, I need 5 Carolines and I'll be sitting on a boat somewhere. I mean, you are a power couple because you both work this. You work, and I know there's a lot going on in your lives, and it's amazing how you don't. There's no excuses. You found something that is, it's what I call, you're on the right horse. Found a company that's ethical and got the right products, and the timing, everything, it seems to be right. So where do you see this? Say the end of next year. Are you excited about what came out of Amsterdam? We'll touch on that in a minute, but just personally.
I think there were 2 main aspects, maybe 3, that were striking for me from Amsterdam. The first one was that the company is going public. And
that's huge.
If you haven't been in business and you don't know what that means, or the ramifications, or how a company does that, then you go, oh, that sounds good. But it actually means that there's a whole lot of governance around opening as a public company. And it means that Karatbars has had to open their books and be audited by independent government departments, and they have to have proved that what they said they were, they actually are. So this gives incredible credibility to Karatbars. And to open in Frankfurt and then London and New York, and then I think the next one's Singapore and Johannesburg.
All the big stock exchanges, isn't it? Yes.
They're all the huge stock exchanges, yeah, around the world.
Yeah, it gives us a little bit of credibility, doesn't it?
I think it actually gives huge credibility. And the other, this was previous, when I was researching, and the white papers showed that Harold Size is the single director of the bank and the gold mine. Well, why would he do that? Because we've had such experience that the directors get sued. So
they have a trust or something in the way.
He must be very confident that he will not put himself in a position, or even if he was sued, that he'd come out clean.
Yeah.
And that speaks volumes about the man.
Yeah.
So the next thing that really impressed me about Amsterdam was the merchant program. And releasing
so
that,
exciting.
And how that can multiply around Australia. Obviously, our previous experience was with merchants, and that's where our heart lies, is with small business,
I agree.
And the small business owners.
You just want to see them do well, and haven't we got something for them? I mean, so lucrative too. Once we set all this up, and I know you will, I know what you like with merchants, and it's that mothering, teaching, nurturing that you do. I don't know what it is, but I'm looking forward to. I started today and got someone to the silver level in the KYCs, and once I understand it, and we'll all talk about that, and we'll do some training. I'm sure the company will as well, but isn't that exciting? And that's just going to give us places to use our KCB and the KBC, isn't it?
The lady Nitsa, who's coming to Australia in December, spoke about a complete ecosystem, and she explained it in English, and said that she figures that by next year, every cent that she spends will be spent within Karatbars, within the Karatbars ecosystem.
I heard
That's
that.
amazing.
That's amazing.
Yes. So that means that all that she's earning, that she can channel it back through her own business. It's like owning Kmart and only shopping in Kmart. You know, that there's every opportunity and every necessity that you might want to purchase is there in the program, in the ecosystem. And that's what she was talking about, and that's pretty exciting.
It is. I think she said it's already a $300 billion industry, the cryptocurrency space, and tipped to go past $1 trillion in the next 12 months. Incredible. So that's good. Well, all right. Well, looking forward to now that you're half back on deck and to catching up in person before too long. Again, congratulations. Just amazing what you've done, Carolyn. And,
so the third takeaway from Amsterdam.
Okay, you got more. Sorry.
Yeah. The third one. So is the K that's up on screen. So with a previous business, we used to have a little hand signal. And when we had photos or took group photos or were having fun, we always had this little hand signal. So Jan and I said to someone at the event, I really want a hand signal. And this guy turned around, he said, what do you mean? I said, I want something to do with my hands that shows Karatbars. He said, we do the K. I went, what's that? So he put his fingers together. He put
like that.
Well, no, it was actually out to the side, like the stick of the K is up and down, and then the kicker is out to the left and then the right. So, but anyway, that's pretty good. And then the thumb goes in between your first finger and your second finger, your pointer and your middle finger. And that was it. We went, I just wanted that. So we can do that in our photos. So that was just a little personal takeaway from it.
No, I love that. It's everyone's, it's the same silly thing. It's not so silly, is it?
No, it actually was something fun, and it was very community and binding when we all did the hand finger. So I'm hoping that the little K signature with your hand really takes off. Well, I'll be doing my bit, okay?
Well, I'll follow you. We'll make it happen. You just got to direct me on the right angle. And so we'll pass that on. Was that it? Was there anything else?
No, they were the three. They were my three big striking takeaways. I mean, there was lots more. It's a fabulous country. The salmon is just stunning. It's green. There's water everywhere, which of course we were commenting on because back home it was in drought and in fire, and and the people were so friendly. Hopping on and off a bus, everybody said hello and goodbye to the bus driver.
Really?
Absolutely.
And this is in Amsterdam, a major city.
It was everywhere we went. We actually chatted with a bus driver. We were north of Amsterdam. We got a 3-day public transport ticket, and we could go anywhere on the map that they gave us. So we made sure we went from left to right and top to bottom on that map in those 3 days. And we were chatting to the bus driver, and she actually lived on a boat in a canal. And it was great chatting and just asking her questions about the way of life.
Was this all in English? How was the communication?
Yeah, most people could speak reasonable English. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Exciting. All right. Well, we'll have you over for dinner soon, and you can tell us all about it.
Thank you.
Okay. So, who do we have now? Oh, look who we have here. Now, this gentleman, I actually met on the day that I had to present this to Carolyn, and he was very standoffish, and he's a big fella too. You wait to hear his deep voice, and it was a bit scary because he knew gold, and he knew a lot more than I did. Unfortunately, I didn't make out that I knew everything, and he's taught me an awful lot about gold. But we had a trip just over a month ago, what we call a destination event. We all went to Ettalong in well, it's almost Sydney, you could say. Beautiful part of the world by the beaches, and Mr. Duck, Graham Duck, came along, and he at the time, not an amazing chef, but he was a bit confused about the business, and this was a fairly small and personal group that we had, and I was looking at his back office and showing him a few things about the two 2FA factor. There's a Google Authenticator that we all needed to put on, and noticed he'd had a few units on one side and not much happening in his business. And I don't know what's happened. I don't know what was in the scones he was making down there or what, but this man, he's on fire. He won a VIP pack, including the gold and KCB. He's on the up. There's no stopping him. Are you there, Mr. Duck?
That I am, Brent.
You really, I can only just hear you, mate.
I don't know if I can turn it up.
That's better. Can everyone hear Graham? Okay, that's good. All right.
Maybe I'll just speak a little louder.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's okay. Sounded like you're a little bit distant. So I've got some questions for you, Graham, because again, this is about just trying to understand, how does someone just all of a sudden switch on? I know there's some people, and my girl sits over here and she says, I just want to do everything, but I don't know how to. And, there is some skills involved in this business, but something happened in the waters in Ettalong. And so when you came to Ettalong, mate, what did you expect?
I didn't really have any expectations, Brent, from going to Ettalong, other than enjoy the company of a few people who have all been a little battered and tattered from our previous excursion.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still sort of not in the headspace with a number of things that were going on, not just the previous business that we were involved in, but
Yeah.
to things of life in general that, you know, I was coming out of it, but it was still a situation where I didn't have the confidence to go forward and talk to people in relation to gold, in relation to this. I didn't have enough understanding of it personally, and if I don't have a good understanding of it, then I'm not comfortable in putting people forward and expecting them to put a few dollars forward to make some extra money for themselves and to build a business.
So confidence, you know, knowledge, probably some posture there, would you say? We're a big part of it?
Not exactly sure what you mean by posture, but, you know, just look, you know, I did some figures today with a guy for not a lot of money, and we've all done these figures, and it still rocks my boat that for this much money, you're going to get this much money the way things are looking in January. And the industry I came out of, you don't quote those sorts of figures because you hang yourself out to dry pretty quickly, and it's pretty difficult to get your head around the fact that we're looking at turning several thousand euros into several €100,000.
Yeah, I know.
Plus a little bit. So getting my head around the fact that is going to happen, that can happen, that will happen, that's insured and guaranteed, as we know now. And the company of Edelong just enabled me to come away with a different mindset in myself, a different comfort zone, a different self-acceptance, I guess, of being able to do the things that we need to do and assist other people to be able to do what they're doing.
Yeah, that's kind of what I mean by posture. I mean, your understanding of it, you may have been kicking some cans prior. I don't know your previous life. You're quite a person, you know, you keep things to yourself. But I do know that with your background of, you know, your knowledge of gold, you've been a personal advisor. There's figures that you wouldn't have been able to quote because they weren't possible in anything like that. And as we grow and understand this business, mate, I just want to congratulate you on what's happened since Edelong. And you're doing it on your own. I know you talked to Derek and Carolyn a bit. This is where if it is to be, it's up to me type of you've had that look in the mirror, mate.
Since I was 14, Brent, you know, I left school at 14. At 18, I was in business for myself and haven't been any different. And, you know, for 26 years, I knocked on doors, cold calling, cold canvassing in relation to the insurance industry. I joined the insurance industry when it was life insurance, nothing but.
Okay. Well, you've been through the school of hard knocks then.
You know, it's Edelong enabled me to be in a position to be able to take no's again rather than the next knockdown is probably one that I just won't bother getting up from.
Fair enough, mate. Good on you. You're too good a cook to be lying down too long. So Edelong was very small and personal. So what did you get out of it?
Out of Edelong?
Yeah. That's where it all changed for so many of us, really.
I guess a better understanding of the functioning of the office, of the back office, a better understanding of the support structure that actually is around us. Derek and Carol and Jen and Dan and you know, yourself to a certain thing there. When Derek rang me up and said, you got to have a look at this, I almost told him to put it somewhere where it may have not been the most polite.
He's pretty thick-skinned, mate, just telling you.
And, you know, well, just join for free. You got to have a look at it, blah, blah, blah. And then had lunch with you and Amanda and Derek and Carolyn that day. And it was like, it feels okay, but look, you know, I'm not sure. I was just really burned off with the whole referral marketing,
Yeah, I know how you feel.
marketing situation.
Felt
And
the same way for a long time.
so the Edelong thing was, you know, just a group of people that were an all-inclusive group, pretty much, that, you know, Brad and his bride and little girl and yourself and your bride, the rest of us, we all sort of functioned together and were able to just give that little bit of support that may have been needed for all of us in some ways, from the shattering that we had from our previous experience.
Yep.
Which just enabled me to sort of put my toe in the water a little bit and get a few wins and get ready to fill the sail with wind and go forward from here.
So you went from dipping your toes in. Why did that change?
I haven't got my toes dipped in yet.
You still don't think you have?
No, I haven't fully dived in doing breaststroke or freestyle. I'm still.
Look out. Look out. That's exciting. Well, mate, so when you got to the end of the month, so were you surprised, like, at what you'd achieved?
Look, I hadn't set out with any agenda, without any.
Didn't have a sort of specific goal
or anything.
Yep.
It was just like, you know, if I can get to this, that'll be cool. And Derek rang me while we were talking one day, and he said, well, you know, you could almost get this. And I thought, maybe, but I don't think so. And you know, and a few things we were just talking about even now, that it's a completely different ballpark altogether these days. But I didn't have any focus on, like Carolyn, that I'm going to get to that specific thing, and to get the VIP pack. I was stoked. I did say I would have liked to get to 100,000 coins. Well, I'm just a spiders off that.
Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good.
Happy days.
Excellent. And so finally, what do you see happening next year? I asked this question because with everything that's coming, you say you're not even swimming yet. What do you see happening?
Look, I think for the group that we have, the nucleus that we have, and I use the we fairly tightly here, with Derek and Carolyn and Jan and Dan and myself, you guys, I'll be disappointed if as a group we haven't got 8 or 10 gold elites, with several thousand people in our teams.
Yep.
And being able to function without having to stress, you know, like Derek said the other day, it's been years since he's been comfortable to,
I know,
frivolously spend a few extra dollars. Well, he's not the only one that's been in that boat. So to see a light at the end of the tunnel, it's not just a freight train coming the other way.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, helping a number of other people be able to come out of a similar situation. And I think the thing I do like about the group that we have, we're all prepared to willingly share. Whilst we're all competitive, we're willing to share the little tricks that we all find out that assist us all to get to a different position in the business or earn a few extra dollars.
I'm glad you mentioned that, Graham, because that's really important to us.
Yeah.
Egos, you know, we've all got them, but keep them in check. And everybody, there's too much. This is a big pool, and the coin will improve if we all go out and do the work, and we leave our egos behind and help each other. I know that sounds corny, but that's what we're all about.
To me, ego only stands for edging God out, and thinking that we are God and we can do it all on our own. And that's far from the truth, in my opinion and my experience. And look, we all have different gifts, and I'm happy to share what I have from my previous occupations and help people to be able to utilize funds that they have locked up to take them to another level in their own structures, so that they can sit back and enjoy. We're at the crux of major change, and I don't believe we get too many opportunities like this. It's almost like buying a lottery ticket that you know you cannot lose.
Yeah, you got it. You got it. And that's how I feel. Like, you know, seeing you guys and what's happening. So we weren't really struggling before this business. We were very worried about the future, and we didn't know what we know now was possible. But you know, what you've just shared, it's very heartwarming. And I know what Derek and Caroline have been through, and I've had a lot of talks to him about that, and just couldn't be happier to see you guys, you know, doing what you're doing and actually making some money out of it. And I know money isn't everything, but it's right up there with oxygen at times.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to have it to survive. And there is one thing I know: when we go to Amsterdam next year, I'm not going to be the chef in the kitchen. And Dan, you can retire from The Apprentice.
Yeah. Well, he's driving the bus, isn't he? I think apparently he's woohoo. He says. Oh, there you go. Thanks. We've got to keep going, Graham. We got more things to talk about. So
no worries, mate. Thanks.
Thank you for your time and your input, and we look forward to seeing you a lot more in the future. Now, this gentleman here, I only met in Adelong, and Brad came along with his lovely wife and his daughter, and she's taught me a few tricks about horses, and I can't wait to jump on theirs. They come all the way up from South Australia to Adelong, you know, which I say is near Sydney, and he came with his arms folded. And what I mean was he was coming just to have a look. His wife and daughter were having a holiday, and they were off doing other things, and he was just sitting in. But something's changed. Are you there, Brad?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear, mate. Loud and clear.
Awesome.
So you tell us a bit about yourself. You dig holes and put wood in them or something, don't you?
And mix cement. That's what we do. We run a fencing business down in Adelaide. Have done for the last few years after being made redundant. I've known Derek and Caroline for similar sort of time to you, about 7 years in a previous experience.
Right.
And it's pretty consistent with what everyone else has said. You know, like, Derek, you serious? Like, we've just gone through hell and back, and you want us to look at something else. But I guess I knew the integrity of that couple enough that because what he did for us in the field for those 7 years was amazing. So I knew that he wouldn't be, looking at anything that wasn't serious. So yeah, I was a bit reluctant, a bit reserved, but much the same. I was just sort of looking for a merchant program as well after previous experience. That's what my parents were always into, was, you know, small family business.
Yeah, I love what we can do for SMEs. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is incredible. Even to just look at, you know, the 150 Bitcoin wallets that you're opening your business up to. You know, cash flow is tough in a small business, so it's all money in the end, whether it's Bitcoin or Ethereum or KBC. It's all cash flow. So that's what I'm sort of excited about. Just giving small business another option to make money.
Yeah, see, you came to Adelong, and you were sort of, you know, you did it out of a bit of respect by the sounds of things from Derek and Caroline. What did you expect out of that? Because I'm going to ask you about a certain amount of coin you have in a minute. So what did you expect, mate?
Again, I'm the same with Graham. I didn't really expect anything. I just wanted some more information, I guess, just to get some clarity with what they're all about. I've always looked at gold and gone, it'd be great to have some. But when you look at the price at the end of the news, and it's just cost prohibitive unless you can find something like this. So I just wanted to find, I'm a pretty detailed sort of person, so I just sort of came up wanting to know the duck's guts, I guess, how it all worked. And I looked at crypto a couple of years ago.
Okay, so you know about the blockchain and whatever?
I'm not an expert on it, but I do know that it's here to stay, and it's going to change the way business is done in the future. So I think it's a good combination with what Karatbars is doing. They're creating demand with their laptop and their phone.
Yeah.
And it is a new closed economic cycle. And I guess the interesting thing is, though, it's actually taking us back to what it once was, where currency was backed by gold.
That's right. Before 71 it was, wasn't it?
So,
gold standard in the US. Yeah, we learnt that down in Adelaide.
We did. And as Carolyn said, it's much like I had a conversation with one of my suppliers the other day, and just talking about the economy and talking about gold, and he's just popped up and said, yeah, my dad's always said to me, if I could afford some gold, buy gold. So I've got no particular targets, no sort of goals, but just in general conversation, people know what it's about, and if you can offer them a way that they can buy a little bit at a time, and
easy to talk to, affordable. Yeah. So you went from sort of dipping your toes in, we'll call it as well, to now having over 3 million coins. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
3 million. Are you willing to tell us how much that you chose to put into this business, mate?
Yeah, well, we looked at the 50K profit tax.
The 50,000 euro.
50,000 euro. Yeah.
Yes.
So we had some funds, and we just went, well, what the hell? We looked at the amount of gold that was
also
available
in those packages. Yes. Physical gold. Yes.
Physical gold. So there was 350 grams of gold, which was, I think, about that time about 50 grand. There was the phones, and if you were disciplined enough to put that gold in their vault, they would give you 35 grams on day 366.
Yeah, for 12 months. That's right.
12 months.
And that's what you've done?
Yeah. So we've basically saved the gold. So
nice.
Wow. And I guess if we took that money and put it in the bank, we wouldn't be getting as good a return. So
yeah, and that's right. That's the thing, isn't it? We were looking at conserving our assets and holding on to them, and more so than the other possibilities are. So that is a huge change. So
can I just add, just the commission alone was, the way that we're structured and the way that we've done it was just under 17K. Yeah.
So you would have set a company up and had a couple of different. Most people on tonight's Zoom would understand the two teams that we build. So you would have had the cycles and quite a few of them, I imagine. So that's very clever. You must have had a good student, that fellow that sort of educated you. That was part of the reason, with Derek and Carolyn, they do their research, and I've learnt so much from them. Mate, that's exciting. Look, I just wanted to, again, are you guys coming up for the Christmas for Niska and the team, the Synergy training in December?
Yes, I'll be definitely coming up. Okay. We're just looking at what we've got on heading into Christmas, and whether we can take some time out as a family or whether it would just be me. But
that'll be great. We're looking forward to catching up. We'll be down here to ride some of your horses and catch up with my sponsor, Roger Yates, at some stage.
More than welcome.
All right, thank you very much. I'm going to move on now, mate, because we're running out of time here. Appreciate you sharing that with us, with Brad.
We'll see you soon.
See you, Mr. Saravalli. Okay, so next up, I think we have the man of the moment. This gentleman, again, you'll probably know the story. I got to know him about 6 or 7 years ago, and they have that. The reason why they stayed around in a business that was sinking was the fact that they have hearts of gold, and they only ever wanted to help people. I was never in their business, and vice versa. But we had a genuine respect for each other, and used to do some live events together, and just always got. He's an ex-footballer, so and also rides a mean horse. But this man here, I know I've spoken. We didn't want to do this until officially and have a night for it until the girls got back. But 90 days, Derek Miller, Australia's only goal director elite. The first is building a huge team. Can't wait for us all to reach that. And is someone that I talk to most days. We throw ideas around and come up with whatever it takes to get the job done. And he hit me up with 1,000 questions in the early days, and some of them I was even able to answer. So, are you there, Mr. Miller?
I am here, Mr. Dobson.
So I want to hear your story, superstar. How did you hear about this? What amazing person spoke to you about this business, mate? I'm going to ask you the same questions. I just want to hear it from you.
Yeah, well, look, it was really, if I could have recorded it, it was a perfect example of how to contact somebody. Now, you and I have had a relationship for years. We would plan cups of coffee. Sometimes it would be months before we'd eventually get together. And you just gave me a phone call and said, hey, let's meet up for a coffee. What time you got and where will we meet?
Yeah.
There was no discussion about, I want to show you something. Well, you meet up for coffee anyway. Let's meet up.
Yeah, I made it real easy. I said, where are you living? And came to your suburb, yeah. So, but that was it was a mutual respect, and I knew some things were happening in a previous business, and I didn't know where your head was. I've got to know you even more since then, and I understand just how strong you guys are. And so, tell us a little bit about. I know I've asked you this last week at over at Centenary, but your previous experience. So what you've done is, look, it's no fluke that you have had some experience. But tell us a bit about what you've done previously, and then how this compares to any previous any type of job, really, let alone referral marketing.
Well, a lot of years ago, I worked for a gentleman called Dexter Yeager, who was the world's largest network marketer. And being involved in his business and seeing how he ran his business was an eye-opener. I left that business for my own reasons some years later. And back about 8.5 years ago, we got involved in our previous business where you and I met. And I thought it was a great opportunity to involve the SMEs, the small businesses that I'd been passionate about. And Carolyn and I had been involved in funding and starting numbers of businesses. And it was a long way away from anything I'd ever seen before. It was this idea of having something that would benefit the SMEs. And when you and I met that day for coffee, I was really not that interested until you dropped on me, and they have an SME wallet. And I about did a backflip off the chair and said, tell me about this wallet. And that was really the thing that hooked me, because we were looking for something to give to our merchants that could benefit them.
Yeah, you always were so passionate about that, weren't you?
Yep, and we built a huge business for 8.5 years. We built a huge business in our previous experience, but when I say it was a huge business, in one of our IDs, we had 140,000 people, I think. I can't remember what the last number was.
125,000?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
And we built it by making sure that we helped even the little people. And that's what most people seem to walk away from. They're looking for the big fish. And to me, it's always been, if you help enough little people, everything else just happens by itself.
Yeah.
So I was passionate about that. The day we met, I was adamant when I came home and said to Carolyn, I think we might run with this. I was adamant that I was not going to follow the regular dogma. So show me what your compensation plan is. Show me how you think this works, and I'm going to read it and work it out. And that's why I didn't want to join Carolyn straight away, because we made that mistake in the previous business. And that turned out to cost us a lot of money. So it wasn't till a few weeks later that we worked out, man, actually you can make this work this way. In fact, it's beneficial. So we sort of then grabbed onto it and ran with it. And for the first couple of months, we didn't do a whole lot. But from then
Really?
on, well, yeah, we registered a few people, but when you look back through our history, it was really the last 30 days that got me to elite.
Yeah, that's true. So again, Eidolon was something happened, wasn't it? Something about a designated event. You guys put together some great training. We got to meet Tammy. I think everyone else, like they've said, the camaraderie, something about it, wasn't there?
Absolutely. And we've historically done an event like Eidolon once a year where people get together, they're like-minded, they've got the same goals. This one turned out to be a lot smaller because we had originally planned it for another business, but we decided to run with it anyway. And it turned out to be a huge bonus because everybody that was in that room has made significant gains. Everybody.
Yes. Yep.
And that to me is the benefit. Like what I did is okay, but the only reason I did that was everybody else was benefiting.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was that entire team effort, the team benefit that made it happen.
Yeah, I mean, so 7.5 years previously, so you're not the type of person that sort of just jumps around from bright shiny things to bright shiny things. You know, you really do commit yourself to what you're about. You both do. You got some integrity, and you know, that was my reluctance to ring you any earlier. Yeah, I can't thank you enough for again and teaching me the ethics of what you do, the commitment. We now do a Monday webinar every Monday. We're here, you know, for everyone. That's going to continue. You do most of it, and Carolyn will jump in and help out again now she's back and taking enough garlic. But yeah, so. When do you see this? When do you see this going? I mean, we got a little bit more to get through, so I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. This was no fluke, but also it can be done. In fact, I think we're going to have people achieving this in less time, don't you? With what's coming and with what structure we have to help people with. What do you think, mate?
Look, I don't see that I have done anything that unique. We worked out the roadmap, and I remember having dinner or lunch with you where I said, look, here's what the numbers are. This is what these numbers mean. If you do these steps, this is what you get. And we've just proven that all adds up.
Yeah.
So there will be people that will come along behind us and blow us out of the water because we've now opened up that pathway to show people how to do it.
Yep. Yep.
And it's look, what's it going to be in another 12 months? I can see this paying for a house inside of a year.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what'll happen, mate. I just know it will. I can't wait to crack that champagne bottle on the side of it for you.
Yep.
And everybody else. Listen, we could talk all night. I think everybody knows a little bit more now about what's happened. Typically, being as humble as you are. It's not about you. So from here, can you take this over, mate, and do what you do so well and walk us through this next stage so we can get this done in a reasonable hour?
Okay, we'll have a quick run through from what happened in Amsterdam. And the two girls went over there and did their best to be our ambassadors. Yep. So you want to talk through some of this, Carol?
Sure. You'll see Jan and I there on the right with our flags. I made sure I'd packed my Australian flags, and we were jumping up and down when the official photographer walked past, and so he took our photo. You'll see the guy behind in white, he features on the video as well. So he's interviewed. What have we got next? See, we saw some of the iconic countryside in the Netherlands. So we actually stayed outside of Amsterdam because we had a week or 10 days from when we decided we'd go to when we actually arrived. We stayed out of Amsterdam, so over northwest, maybe half, 3/4 of an hour out in a place called Standpoort Noord, I think is how you say it, which is near Haarlem and then into Amsterdam. So, but this is a bit north of Amsterdam, those beautiful windmills.
So we've got a little video up next, but I think I'm going to skip through it because we've been on for a long time. So here's the outcomes from Amsterdam. We're going to talk about the bank. It's just an amazing outcome that we get to create a system, an ecosystem that we have control over from our own assets, that are in this ecosystem. And as Carolyn said, NHTSA's talking about having the ability to spend all of her money in this ecosystem. We've got a bank. Like, what can't you do in the system with a bank? That is outstanding. The next thing is the merchant number goal. Now, lots of us have been involved in a previous business where they talked about merchant programs, but nowhere did anyone say they wanted to have 1 million merchants by December 15th.
Someone asked me recently, how are we going to achieve that? Because that seems a lot of merchants. But if there's, let's take 700,000 affiliates, and every one of those talks to 2 merchants and registers 2 merchants, there's your 1 million.
Exactly. And aside from the fact that it's the best merchant program in the world and it's free when they register for 6 months. So after the 6 months, they can opt in or opt out. If they stay in, it's €200 per year. They don't pay any fees on the transaction. In fact, they get paid for it. So why wouldn't you want to register people as SMEs? Why wouldn't merchants want to do this? We're in fact flying down to Adelaide early November. Apparently, Mr. Seravalli assures me that they have good red wine there. That's why I'm going. But no doubt at some point we'll be driving around talking to merchants about why they should be in this business. So the next thing is the IPO. Frankfurt, the first exchange they're going to be listed on by December 15th. Lots of things happening on December 15th. That is a key date. Followed by London, New York, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Johannesburg. As Carolyn talked about in her interview, to get listed on that number of exchanges, just to get listed is an enormous process. And you have accountants and bookkeepers and auditors crawling all over your books and your documents to make sure that what you're saying is accurate. So I don't know of any other business that could look at this and say it's dodgy. I mean, for heaven's sake, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 exchanges have audited these figures and these books. That's wonderful. The other thing that they released was the laptop, the encrypted laptop, and these are integral to what's happening with some of the promotions. And you'll see there's a package for €2,600 and there's a package for €5,200. The €5,200 is a laptop and a phone, and it gets you, the buyer, €10,400 worth of coins, and the seller gets 100% as well. So why wouldn't you look at them? €10,400. The website is upgrading now, so please be patient. Every time you go to get on a website, it seems it's down. They're doing lots of work on it. Just be patient. It will get better. It's merging into one website. So just remember, ladies and gentlemen, this is gold. This is the business to be in at the moment. We are on the right horse, and wow, what outcomes we've seen. So thank you for joining us. Is there anybody that's got any questions at the moment before we wind up for the evening? Don't see any questions coming up. Thank you, Graham. Thanks for being on tonight. Thanks, everybody, for coming along. Look, those of us that were interviewed tonight, we've just made sure that there's a roadmap for everybody to follow. Anybody can succeed in this business like we have. Just make sure that you follow along and copy what we did. It's not that difficult. And believe me, if I can do it, anyone can. And that's great, because even Skippy Pest Control is saying, if we can do this, anyone can. Anyone wanting to know how we got 3M coins, 3 million coins, give me a call. Brad's happy to tell people how they did it. It's an amazing story. We thought through carefully the structure to make sure it all worked out. So thanks everyone for joining us. We will look forward to seeing you. Yes, we'll have a meeting in Adelaide, Corallan. We'll let you know ahead of time. Brad and I will organise something in the coming days. We'll have a get-together somewhere and a bit of a chat and a yarn, and make sure that we have a meeting that people can send along their prospects to. So thanks for joining us, everybody. And yes, we'll get young Derek in. Jeff Cooper, yes, we will have merchant training with actually Mr. Seravalli as our expert in that. He's almost all the way through his gold registration, whereupon he can give us some information on how to go through every step, and he's really good at it. So thanks everybody for joining us. We look forward.
The company is actually doing some official merchant training as well. That was announced in Amsterdam, so look out for that as well, Jeff.
Yes, there are. Actually, get on the Carrot Bars YouTube channel. There's quite a bit of stuff goes up there regularly. So thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you all on the golden beaches of the world.
Have a golden week.
Have a great week.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.